Do you own a Warbonnet Ridgerunner hammock? Well, I do, and I love it. Stick around and I'll show you some tips and tricks to get the most out of your Warbonnet Ridgerunner. What's going on, friends? Rob here, rPelton1. Thanks again for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, I do a lot of outdoor gear and gadget review videos. I do a lot of backpacking videos. So if you're into that kind of thing, consider subscribing. Consider subscribing right down there so you don't miss any of the videos that I have coming up. A little while ago, I posted a video about tips and tricks for the Warbonnet Ridgerunner. So that's part one. If you want to check out that video, I'll post it right up there, so be sure to check that out. I'll also link that video down in the description. I go over a lot of the modifications that I've done to this hammock to make it a little bit better for me in the woods. Now this is part two. I'll show you a couple of more mods that I did, a couple of additions, and I'll show you another use for it as well. After the first few mods that I did, and I featured those in that first video, the next thing I did was I replaced the shot cord that tensions the bug net. I felt that the shot cord was kind of wore out. I got this sturdier shot cord. It's got reflective in it, which is really nice. And originally attached to the bug net onto this little grosgrain piece here, they had a metal O-ring that was attached to the grosgrain, and they had this simple cord lock. And they used this simple cord lock to tension the shot cord to tighten up your bug net. So I removed both of these things. What I ended up doing is I just tied a little piece of this Spectra line onto the grosgrain, and I attached it to these line locks. Now these are line lock 3s. What's really nice about these is all you have to do to loosen it is you just grab the line lock itself, pull, and it loosens it. Now to tighten it, you just grab the shot cord and you pull, and it holds. I felt that these didn't hold very well. These kept slipping on me. These line lock 3s have not slipped, so I got these on the foot end and also the head end, and I think these allow for a better adjustment, a more versatile adjustment for the bug net. I'll leave a link to where you can get these line locks if you're interested, but I think they work extremely well. The nice part about Ridgerunners is on the head end, there's actually, it comes up a little bit and creates a little bit of a shelf, allowing your head a little bit of comfort, a little bit of support. So when I use a pillow in a Ridgerunner, I don't need much loft for it at all, but I found a way to attach my pillow to the inside of this. That way when you lean forward in the hammock, this pillow doesn't slide down to the small of your back, and then you end up trying to fish it out to get it up above your head again. It'll just stay attached to the cord. All I did was use a piece of braided fishing line, the same fishing line I used for the Ridgeline mod, and the Ridgeline mod is in the part 1 video. Be sure to check that out in the description. I simply used the needle, I fished it through the seam at the same spot the shot cord loop is on the outside of the head end, right where your spreader bar goes through. And that fishing line I tie to, again, one of those line locks. And then attached to the line lock is the shot cord with a loop on the end. My pillow has a little S-beaner on it. I simply connect it, and now it stays up. This won't slide down. I can tighten it up. I can loosen it, no big deal. And on the back side, again, just like on my Ridgeline mod, I used a little button on the outside to keep the thread from pulling through. This is a cool little hack, and when you're not using your pillow and when you want to get in and out, you simply stuff your pillow in the little pocket on the head end, and that stays out of the way until you're ready to use it. One of the big things that I picked up just to help my stay in cooler weather, especially on trips like this when it starts getting into the single digits or even the 20s, is underquilts. Now this is a Lynx underquilt by Warbonnet. It's rated to 20 degrees. It's rated to 20 degrees, which is fine. This is starting to get a little bit older. It's starting to lose its loft a little bit. It still does pretty good. However, if you add something to this, it can help take your temperature rating down a little bit more. So maybe 10, 11 degrees pretty comfortably. What is it? An Underquilt Protector. I ordered this one from 2QZQ, I believe that's what it's called, and they said it was made specifically for bridge hammocks. It looks to be like a pretty generic pattern to me, but this is ripstop nylon. It's windproof, it's water resistant, and all you do is install it over your underquilt. It helps trap that heat in. It doesn't allow the wind to blow away your heat. This by itself weighs almost nothing, and it packs down really small, but it will really help keep you warm from underneath in your hammock. And to install it, it's pretty easy. It does have two ends on it, and they got shot cord. The head end is going to be a little bit wider than the foot end, so I just marked this with a little F. This tells me that this is going to go on the foot end, which means the other end is at the head end, right? It's got these little grosgrain loops. There's one here and there's one there. So if you look at it as the end here, one there and here. I don't use the first one. I don't feel that it gets tight enough. I always use the second one, and I do that all the way around. But to install it, let's take a detailed look. This is integrated right to the spreader bar itself. All you do is, I'm going to find the second loop here, detach the spreader bar, put it right into the grosgrain loop, and then reinstall it. That's all you have to do, and then you do that all the way around. Now, it is a little bit baggy. You can tighten it up with the cinch cord on the side. And like I said, there are cinch cords on the end too to really seal it up. You can see how windy it is, which you can really feel how that wind could blow away the heat you're trying to build up underneath. There it is. It just hangs loose on the bottom, but no air is going to take away your built-in hard-earned heat that you earned. Very simple. I'll leave a link to where you can find one of these down in the description as well. I just saw that Warbonnet makes one, a custom one for the Ridgerunner. I might take a look at it because this fits okay, but I don't think it fits perfectly. But it'll help keep you warm. Another add-on is this rainfly. This is the Mountainfly by Warbonnet. I had this custom made at a 13-foot ridge length. Now that 13 foot makes sure I get coverage over my suspension, which is excellent. Another part about the Mountainfly, it's got these tapered doors here. That just makes it easier to get in and out. That's way easier. This is way harder. See what I mean? But this thing is an absolute beast. From the coverage, the weight, the materials, this is perfect for the Ridgerunner hammock. Now I have a full in-depth detailed review on this rainfly. I'll leave a link to that video right up there, so check that out if you want detailed information on the perfect rainfly for the Ridgerunner. Those are some of the smaller hacks that you can do. Fairly easy, but I think it makes the functionality of the Ridgerunner just a little bit better. But now, let's say that you're in a situation where you're backpacking and there's little to no trees, or maybe the trees that are there are just too small. What can you do with your Ridgerunner? You can go to the ground and use it as a bivy-sack, as a bivouac. Let's take a look at how to do that. Alright, a few things you're going to need to go to the ground. Some trekking poles or small trees. You need extra stakes. I recommend the small skinny shepherd's hook. I'll show you why these exact ones in a minute. And then of course, just some regular old stakes to help stake down your tie outs and things like that. What you will not need are your spreader bars. Not going to use these at all. So here's my flat space, and we're going to pretend we're in a prairie or something like that, you know, without any big trees around. This will work with smaller trees if you need. I'm going to spread this guy out. And you'll notice right where your buckles attach, there's a small loop there. These hooks, these stakes fit perfectly in there. So I'm just going to stake it down. The one thing I will caution you though, when you're staking this out, don't make it super tight, don't make it super taut. If you make it tight all the way around like you would a tent, you're not going to be able to get any lift on your bug net. It's going to lay flat and not want to do anything. So just make sure it's loose on all sides just to give you a little bit more room. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but the dog bones are coming up to my suspension. I've wrapped the suspension around my trekking pole. I just did a trekker's hitch, and then I staked out the other end right down there. Now, in order to tighten this up, all I have to do is just raise my trekking pole, and that should tighten it up. And then from here, you go ahead and attach your bug net. You can tighten that up to raise it, and then we'll go do the other side. Now once you get it to this point, you could throw a sleeping pad right in here with you. Otherwise, if you have a double layer Ridgerunner like I do, you can slide your sleeping pad right into the sleeve right underneath there. Get her zipped up. And there's your bivvy. Now I would say if I were to pitch this again, I would pitch the corners a little looser, raise my trekking poles just to give you a little bit more headroom with the bug net. Otherwise, it's still plenty wide. I see no reason why this wouldn't work just fine. Fairly simple, a little crude, but still very effective if you needed to use this in a situation without trees or if you're on a prairie or something like that. I mean, is it ideal? Probably not, but it would still work. Now, obviously, running a tarp over this, it'd be the same principle. Use your trekking poles to tie off your ridge line, stake down your corners, you're good to go. If you don't have trekking poles, or if there's smaller trees in the area, obviously you can use the trees as your points of contact, but it works just fine. If you have any experience using a Warbonnet Ridgerunner like this in this fashion, I'd be very curious to hear your story. Leave those comments down in the comment section. If you have any questions about any of these tips, any of these tricks, any of these hacks, leave those questions down in the comment area below. But I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you learning a little bit more about the Ridgerunner with me. If you haven't already, like I said, check out part 1 of the Warbonnet hacks down below. But until next time, get outside, enjoy this big, beautiful world. Pitch a bivvy. We'll see you on the trail.